Good afternoon, everybody. This is Tanisha Laverne Grant with BlackInAmerica.com. I am super excited about this interview today. This is one for the books. I am welcoming to the platform today none other than the incomparable Nate Parker. We love Nate Parker, and he's with one of the stars of this amazing new film called American Skin, Miss Milana Jackson. How are you both this afternoon?
I'm better now. I'm fantastic to be on this platform with you and to be with my sister Milana. This is exactly where I want to be. So thank you for having us.
You are more than welcome. Nate, American Skin, I've got to tell you, this bad boy is brilliant. This is brilliant, dear friend. I have been reading some of the reviews and I'm like, they got this. No. This film is brilliant. This is one of the best pieces of cinematography that I've seen on race relations and conflict resolution and Black pain and how we process Black pain and how our pain really isn't valued. So I want to talk a little bit about the inspiration for this film because I know I read that your nephew, it was a conversation with your nephew. I believe, you were talking to him about how he should engage in, police activity, when he's stopped by the police, not police activity, but when he's stopped by the police, what he should do, which is a jarring conversation for anybody to have. So your nephew approached you, right?
Right. In 2014, August, as we watched Michael Brown's body face down, bloating in the heat, my nephew, who I had gotten custody of from Virginia, I brought him to live with me and put him in a school that I thought would really position him for the rest of his life. As we watched, CNN, and we watched these images of this body in the street, he turned to me and said, "Uncle Nate, what do I do if I get pulled over by the police?" And it struck me that for all of my work in the community, for all of my activism, for all of the projects I'm trying to push out, I didn't have an answer for him that was appropriate or something that was satisfactory. I said, call me and I'll be there as fast as I can, but that's not the answer because, I don't want you to reach for your phone. Just slow down, put your feet down, put your hands up, make sure you make eye contact so he can see your face, that you're only 14, make sure that you're de-escalating your yes, sir. And he's looking at me and I could just see the wheels spinning like, wait, you're Uncle Nate. You're on this hand, you're teaching me about my rights, teaching me to stand up for myself. But on this side, you're telling me that none of that matters because this person that we pay to exist has control of my body and can take it at any moment if I sneeze, And it was just a feeling of powerlessness and embarrassment and shame. And I just, and literally 2 days later, I was in Ferguson. I said, I'm gonna give you an answer, nephew. And I got to Ferguson and I saw even there how our humanity was not being recognized. We're screaming Black Lives Matter. If we remember back then, it was like being considered a terrorist chant. Yep. It wasn't in vogue. It wasn't cool to have on a shirt that said, "I can't breathe."
Yeah.
In fact, there were people that suffered greatly in our industry for wearing those shirts. So, this film for me is less about film. It's less about movies. This is about our grief, our pain, our frustration, and our full stop. Because if something if something doesn't change, then this film will be relevant 10 years from now. And I'll let Milana speak to the realities of being a Black woman and approach, having to deal with whether it be being a mother or that positioning. Because I've worked with her before. We've stayed very close. And when I was putting together this film, she was gracious enough to come and work with us without a lot of money, because when you need a lot of money, they don't give you a lot of money to make movies like this.
Of course not. Of course not. Milana, what resonated with you when you, read for this role, when you were reading the script, for Tiana, what was hitting you at your core?
The truth.
Yeah.
There was an element to the story that I could connect to because when Lincoln, but we call him Link, says, "Why are we the ones that have to be nonviolent?" It resonated with me. I've always felt like that. I was raised to stand up for myself. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. You have to defend yourself. as a Black woman, you're talking about pain. We're in so much pain that we take it out on ourselves in our own community. We don't even understand why we need to express ourselves in an act of rage, right? But when it comes to the narrative that is in this story of my son being a 14-year-old boy, I saw the intention of really establishing all the steps that are necessary to protect him. And yet the people who are there to serve and protect are the ones who took away life in a way that wasn't even equal to the amount of threat that he could have presented. You know, so because we have to understand, like, I grew up hearing about Emmett Till.
Yeah.
From Chicago, of course, you know, Emmett Till is the story that we're going to be told because they're from Chicago. I had the pleasure of meeting his mom before she passed away.
Mamie.
Yes. And what I saw in her eyes was a vacancy. It was a vacancy that no one could ever feel. There was never justice.
Yeah.
There's never going to be justice for her son. And that's a harsh reality because this woman committed her life to fighting for her son, having justice and getting justice, because if they only see how horrific his body was, that this was a baby, this was a 14-year-old child.
Yeah.
And
it's difficult. It's a very, you can't even say, I mean, to say it's a hard pill to swallow sounds ridiculous, you know? But my God, the way our boys are pathologized, you know, the way young Black life is pathologized. You know, one of my, there's a scene in the police station where, you know, the officer who pulled the trigger and Link, you know, has a gun to his head and he's down on his knees and you're saying to him.
Hold on. I think that there's a spoiler alert happening right now as we speak.
Oh, okay. You know what? Thank you. Sorry,
I love
guys.
you. I got so much love for you, but
yeah, you guys, this movie.
It's all
you know, forgive me. I was telling your cast, your leading lady here, that right now my father is really ill, and so I'm processing all of that. And this is really one of my first interviews back, so forgive me for the spoiler. Usually I'm a little bit, you know, a little swift with it. But there are just some pretty powerful scenes in this film, Nate. And just talk to me a little bit about some of the sequencing. You know, I will move the movie towards the end, which sheds the light on media. And as a member of the media, as a journalist, my God, I was in here just clapping by myself, you know, just talking about, you know, these headlines that were going up. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. He's this. And then the wipe to the basketball player saying, oh, you know, he's a monster on the court. Like that monster.
The one we like.
Yeah.
Not the one we don't like.
It's also contained.
That was so brilliant.
It's
that
just
was so brilliant.
But this is the thing. I mean, this film was made in 2019 before George Floyd. And if we'll be honest, George Floyd happened, and if I had $1 for everyone that said to me, this time feels different. And then to watch just how fast they got sports back on television and how once again we were just pacified.
Yep.
You know, look, this film this is not an indictment on any particular group. It's an indictment on ourselves. It's going to take self-reflection, you know, and real engagement, even amongst ourselves. You know, it's like at some point we have to be less concerned with how white people see us and be more concerned about how we've been conditioned to see ourselves. Because then the demands that we make won't be empty and they won't be cut at the Achilles heels by people that look like us. You know, this plantation politics. We've seen this. This tape has been on repeat for so long. This is not new. People like, aren't you wow, isn't the timing incredible? What makes the timing any different than last year or the year before that or 10 years ago or 50 years ago? We have been tarred, feathered, and skinned, set on fire, bodies shot full of holes, charred fingers broken off for souvenirs for years, for centuries in this country. And it's that trauma we carry around in the relationship, and we will not confront it honestly. And it's just, and until we do, a film like this will be relevant 10 years from now.
And this goes back to how you started, Tanisha, with our expression of our pain, and the trauma. And if we continue to talk about how traumatic these things are and the pain that we're experiencing, and we act with that,
yes,
people will hear it. As soon as we began to allow the salve to be spread and then believe that because we're not seeing it be recorded and documented socially, as soon as we forget, that's how the cycle repeats. People are going to be tired of hearing it. We are tired of seeing it. We're also tired of experiencing it and saying it. And that's the reality. If the only thing that tires you is the idea that it's happening, then you're a part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I heard a journalist say one time that there's never a lot of conversation about how many Holocaust films there are, but there's always conversation about, you know, how many slave movies there are. I remember when that amazing film, Birth of a Nation, was preparing to launch. It was like, oh, do we need another slave movie? And how reductive and dismissive, you know.
But you know what? This is the thing. This is the one thing that we have to remind ourselves. You speak a lot about our trauma, Milana. Our trauma is ongoing. There is no magic bullet, right? So, you know, my mentor always says to me, he always says this. I'll be like, what's going on? How do we fix this? And he said, you know what, Nate? The doctor doesn't blame a patient for being sick. He just gives them the medicine. We have to create medicine. We have to do it with our art. You have to do it with your journalism. We have to do it with the way we parent our children, with the way we interact with each other, how we learn to love our reflection. All of that is medicinal. Because if not, we're just treating the symptoms. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to admonish anyone for saying we don't need another slave boom. Why? Because some people don't want to be reminded of their pain without context.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up with Black History Month, and it was the most embarrassing month of the year. Why? Because I'm a Black kid in a Black school with white teachers, and the white teachers are just, here come February. So what are we going to do today? And I just remember, I could not understand why I felt so ashamed.
Yeah.
Then the ship with all the bodies packed in it, and I'm just like, if I see that picture one more time. But they're not teaching us about Sojourner Truth. They're not teaching us about bell hooks. They're not learning about, you know, Marcus Garvey or Toussaint.
Yeah.
All we're seeing are the people who oppress us, and we're being conditioned to believe that they are the people who can save us, which is counterintuitive. So it's like, I don't blame people, anyone. Like, I love my people. There's no one anywhere can get me to say or feel anything negative about people that look like me. I know we are people that have been traumatized. Don't put no mic in my face. What you think about Milana? Milana, that's my sister, and I love her. I die for her. That's it.
I so love that you said that, Nate, because in this field, and that's why the scene towards the end of the movie about the positions that we take as men and women in media, as journalists, it matters. That job you take, that it matters. And I'm biting my tongue here. It matters because then you become the conduit, you know, of putting these images out there.
That's right.
And that's where the power lies.
Yeah. You know, and I know a lot of times it's very hard to get, you know, A-list, quote, you know, talent to talk to Black media outlets, Black journalists, but this is where the truth is. I'm going to safeguard you. I'm going to protect you in a way that you're not going to get protected and safeguarded at a mainstream outlet. And so it's such a slippery slope. I know, Nate, you don't have a lot of time, but here we are, we're ushering a new presidential administration. You know, what are your thoughts? I mean, what are you hoping that Biden and Harris will bring to us in the next 4 years?
Well, I'm going to defer to the Queen, Milana, who's actually below me in the, I don't know where, but I would love for her. There's no person more fitting to speak to the experience of this transition than her.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I received that. Being a student at a point in my life of Howard University. I, for the first time now in government, in leadership, see myself. I see an example of how we as Black women are overqualified for our jobs. And we get in the door the best way we can. I am empowered in a new kind of way, but I'm also realistic. I am aware that the position of being vice president or even president is quite different than most of us imagine. And so, you know, we have to maintain our boots on the ground and be grounded in this transition. Because the fight that we're facing, just for the progressive future that we all desire to live in and be a part of, can only happen if we stay grounded.
You know what, my fellow HBCU sister, thank you. Thank you so much for those words. I'm a proud alumna of Cheyney University of Pennsylvania. It is the oldest HBCU, founded in 1837. And Nate, when you were just speaking, and I know I got to wrap this up, but when you were speaking about, you know, Black history, that's the jewel in the crown of an HBCU, because the minute you step, you know, on the quadrangle of historic HBCU, you're getting that immersion. You know, you're getting those images of, you know, those first slaves coming to Jamestown in 1619. You're getting that history of how we were kings and queens, and still kings and queens, Nefertari, Hatshepsut, Nzinga, Makeda, Nakulak, Akhenaten. Like, we're getting all that stuff, you know. And so I'm just so grateful that I had this opportunity to speak with the both of you today. I am excited beyond measure about American Skin. You know, Milana, I want you to plug why this film needs to be watched. And then Nate, of course, you know, I want you to do a why this film is so important in this climate. And again, you guys, this film is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. And I don't say that often. For those of you who subscribe, you know, to my blog on Black in America, who have followed me on Arise 360 and other platforms, rarely do I say a film is brilliant. This film is brilliant. You got to see it.
I'll say I received this question in a different kind of way because this is one of the projects that I'm a part of that I honestly stand behind and stand next to this man who wrote and directed the film with pride and support, which is a position of power as well. This was a collaborative effort. And I think that you saw that. I think you feel it. You will have a visceral reaction and a dialogue that needs to happen, that needs to continue to happen to promote, to actually receive the kind of change that we all want to be a part of, will happen post seeing this film.
Nate, and Spike Lee is attached to this. You know, for those of you who don't know, the incomparable Spike Lee, whose two beautiful children are this year's Golden Globe ambassadors. So how about that? You know, got to throw that in there.
Yeah, he's been a mentor and friend in so many ways. I hope people will recognize, and seeing the film, you'll see yourself. You'll see your feelings. You'll see your rage justified. You'll see our hurts. You'll see our moments of strength in images that you've never seen before. And I think that's important. I'll also say, sister, please never bite your tongue. I know you said earlier you were biting your tongue. But for about 30 seconds and hearing you speak and glow, it gave me the chills. Hearing you rant off our kings and queens of the different empires. We need that, sister. We need you.
It's true. We
don't need a watered down version of what they want to represent. We already know where they stand. Yeah. We already know. Right? I mean, when it comes down to it, I will bite my tongue for a split second. Yeah. But don't ever. What does Maya Angelou says? The world gains nothing from you being small. And the power that was just shown and demonstrated in that 30 seconds. I don't know about you, Milana, but it knocked my shirt off. I was like, wait a minute. That's power. And that's what we need. And that's why we're here. You ain't never got to go through nobody to get to me. From now until doomsday, I don't care what happened, where I'm at, what I'm doing, how big or small. You will never have to reach out to anyone or go through anyone to get to me. Because this is what it's about. This is community. This is the village. And this is all that matters to me. They can keep everything else. So I appreciate you, sister. Keep doing what you do. And the world gains nothing from you being small. Bring that power. We need you.
Thank you.
Especially now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We love you, sister. It's all right.
Thank you.
We got
you. Guys, thank you so much. I needed that today. This was a tough interview for me. It's been one of the first ones since my father's been ill. And one of the last messages he left me on my voicemail was to stay on my mark. So Nate, Milana, thank you so much. This was a tough one.
You're welcome. We're honored. We're honored to be in this space with you. We're honored to be in this space. Right. That's, and again, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention the power of our Lord, and how when we look to Him from the 10,000-foot view, that everything seen through His eyes, it's gonna work out. We're not like, and I have 5 daughters, brown girls, and I know my relationship with you, and I can't speak to yours and your father's, but I do know this: you're making him proud every day that you do what you do. You are making him proud. He is proud of the strong queen that he has raised. So, and that's the best thing we can do as parents. So God bless you. God bless y'all. Thank you for this time. I appreciate
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm here.
Alrighty. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All the best with American Skin, you guys. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.